Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning for the last Quarterly in the Fourth Community Breakfast Meeting for 2023. Today, we are hosting this meeting at the newest Community and Senior Center in DeKalb, the East DeKalb Community and Senior Center. This center was opened up in July of this year, and so we're excited to be able to host our first Q4 meeting here this morning. I want to thank Jessica Holt and Bianca and the rest of the team here at the center for helping us get things put together. There were quite a few people on the staff here. I'd get in trouble if I tried to name everyone. They know who they are. They were here bright and early this morning helping us set up. So thank you for your hospitality and for assisting us. If you're not familiar with the center and what it has to offer, please be sure to stop at the tables here and learn more about what this center has to offer in terms of programming for all individuals, for families, for adults, for seniors, and for children. Today's breakfast is being provided by Chick-fil-A, so hopefully everybody's gotten something to eat. I also like to cover a couple of housekeeping matters. The restrooms are right outside the door here to your right, and if you need to get up, please do so and move around, stretch, have no problem doing that. It's also important that you sign in when attending these meetings so that we know who's in the building. And also it provides us with a record to be able to stay and communicate with you so you get updates from Commissioner Bradshaw's office. Our Constituent Services Coordinator, Robin Fleeg, is out here at the desk. And she is the one that many of you, that when you have an inquiry regarding District 4 or the county at large, you have been in touch with Robin Fleeg. And if she, again, we need your information to stay in touch with you. I also want to introduce Carrie Cordes. Carrie, can you wave? Carrie is our communications specialist, and she is the person who is responsible for the newsletters that some of you get. If you're not getting our newsletter, again, I want to underscore, we need your email address to be able to get that information to you. So all communications, for the most part, Carrie is the mastermind making sure that you get that information from Commissioner Bradshaw. This is Commissioner Bradshaw's 6th year hosting Q4 community breakfast meetings. Commissioner Bradshaw designed these meetings to provide DeKalb constituents with updates, information, and resources, and to also address constituent inquiries, and to hear your ideas that will help DeKalb County move forward. Today, we will have a Q&A at the end, so we're going to have presentations. We're going to ask you, if you can, to hold those questions until the end when we get to Q&A. We also have constitutional officers here today that will be presenting as well. They'll be here to answer some questions that you may have. It's worth noting that the quarterly meetings that are facilitated by District 4 Commissioner Bradshaw's office are the only meetings of their kind that happen for constituents in DeKalb County. So we've been consistent for the last 6 years. We do them quarterly, and we're just happy to be able to provide this resource to you. As a longtime DeKalb County resident of District 4, I am encouraged by the progress being made in DeKalb County. Yes, I am biased, but part of the reason why I got involved in government was because of grievances that I had as a resident. And I got to tell you, I am just elated with what I see that's happening in the county. And that is 100% has to go to the leadership that we have in DeKalb County and you constituents being involved and being engaged. So let's keep this partnership going. Again, today we have department representatives that will be here. For some of you that have attended, you know that we typically have representation from our police department, code enforcement, sanitation, roads and drainage, and so we'll be having those folks speak to you and introduce themselves, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions during Q&A. We also live stream this meeting on YouTube, and this morning, I think we've got that straightened out. So we'll be going around with a microphone, and I would just ask you, let us hold the microphone, because in that way, the folks that are watching on YouTube can hear the question, and we also will ask their questions if there are any from the YouTube participants. So please, at this time, join me in welcoming Commissioner Steve Bradshaw, District 4. Ready?
Good morning, everybody. Oh, come on now. We can do a little bit better than that. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here on a Saturday morning. Everybody's got busy lives, other things you could be doing, but that you're here on a Saturday morning, it's a testament to your civic engagement and your desire to be involved and engaged in what's going on in your community. So I very much appreciate that. And it's great to be here in this wonderful new facility. Isn't this facility awesome? So I won't take you through the odyssey of how we got here from inception to this being built and the ribbon cutting a few months ago, but the good news is this facility will be here for a long time, serving the people of this district and this county, and I, for one, am very proud that we were able to get this done. So thank you for being here. Also, you will notice that this is the first Saturday in November. Ordinarily, we do these on the fourth Saturday of a month, quarterly in the fourth. But a few months ago, I made the decision to push this one to the first Saturday because last Saturday, I ran in the Police Athletic League 5K. Now, I was a cross-country runner in high school, and during my Army days, obviously we ran a lot, but both of those were a long, long, long time ago. So getting myself ready to run at 3.1 miles was a bit of a feat, but we got it done. We were out there representing, and my body is almost fully recovered from last Saturday. So pray for me, y'all. Pray for me. I want to thank, before I go further, I want to thank my amazing staff. You've been introduced to them before, but I want to take advantage of this opportunity to do that. My constituent coordinator, Robin Fleeg, who's out front, handles all the constituent calls. Our communications specialist, Carrie Cordes, who's responsible for our communications. And of course, our amazing Chief of Staff, Alicia Brooks, who you've already met. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It would be impossible for me to discharge the duties of this office without them, without their support, without their loyalty. So give them a hand. So let me give you a brief overview of how I anticipate we're going to flow this morning. So I'll give a few brief remarks. I'll try not to take up too much time because we have some very, very special guests here that I think you'd prefer to hear from. But after I give a few remarks, I'll yield back to Alicia, and then she'll take us through the rest of the flow. I also want to thank all of our administration representatives who have been steadfastly supporting this meeting for the last 5-6 years we've been doing it. They turn out on a Saturday morning to engage with their constituents, because they're not just my constituents, they're their constituents too. Y'all are all of our constituents. So, and they have the expertise, I don't, so if there are specific questions, representatives from the key departments are here to answer your questions. And then I think, as Alicia said, we'll try to hold most of the questions till after all the presentations are done. So before I go any further, I want to acknowledge any elected officials who are here this morning and afford them the opportunity to greet you. And I do that on purpose because serving in elective office is not always easy. So I respect and appreciate the job that everybody who's gone down this path does. So if there are any elected officials here, please raise your hand and Alicia will bring you the mic so you can say a few words to our folks here today.
Okay, start in the back.
I get to hold it?
Yeah.
You said we don't get to hold it. You do. Good morning, everybody. I'm Shakira Johnson, City Council member for the City of Stone Mountain. I'm actually closing out my 4th term on City Council as of December 31st, and I'm launching my campaign for District 4 County Commissioner next year. I'm looking forward to continuing to serve the great citizens of District 4. It's been a pleasure serving Stone Mountain for 16 years, and I look forward to continuing to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Melanie Hammett, the mayor of the city of Pine Lake, and as of December 31st, I'll be finishing out my final term as mayor. We'll have a brand new mayor and a couple of council folks. We just welcome you all, and thank you to Commissioner Bradshaw for persevering with these quarterly breakfasts. They've been really meaningful over the years, and I intend to keep coming even when I am no longer in office, because I will be a resident of DeKalb County. And thank you all for the work that you do to keep this county going forward, moving forward, as you just said.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other elected officials who are here? Yes, oh my God.
Good morning, everyone. I'm DeKalb County Sheriff Melody Maddox, and it's an honor and a privilege for me to serve as your sheriff. I pray that I continue to serve as your sheriff. And Commissioner Bradshaw, thank you so much for putting on these quarterly breakfasts. I think it's very important for us to stay in tune with our community, but for the community to stay in tune with us as well as your leaders. So thank you again.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Other elected officials? Okay, well, thank you all for your dedication to public service and for being here this morning. I appreciate it. Also, we're in election season, so I like to also acknowledge candidates who are here, and I do that as well because running for office is hard. So it's hard. It's a hard road. So my hat's off to anybody who's taken that plunge to go down that path. So if there are any candidates here, we'll afford you the opportunity to greet the crowd, but for God's sake, don't filibuster, because this isn't a political meeting. This is an official meeting, but I want to acknowledge the candidates who are here.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dion McGee. I am running to be your next DeKalb County State Court Judge. I am a homegrown resident of DeKalb County, daughter of DeKalb, been here all of my life, grew up literally 5 minutes from this building. I'm a graduate of Reed End High School and the University of Georgia and John Marshall Law School. Been practicing law for 23 years. I've been both a criminal defense attorney and a prosecutor and done civil litigation. Proud to be here, excited to have the opportunity to speak to you all, and thank you so much, Commissioner Bradshaw, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lance Hammonds. I am a candidate for DeKalb County Commission District 4, longtime resident of DeKalb County, 30-plus years. Just recently past president of DeKalb NAACP. I serve as the chair of the Rockbridge Coalition, and my mantra is that I know how to fight. And that's what I'm going to do for the citizens of District 4. Would like to also say that key thing is putting DeKalb families first. And I want to thank Commissioner Bradshaw for always putting families first, and that's what I want to do as your next DeKalb County Commission for District 4. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kenneth Royal. I want to thank Commissioner Bradshaw for hosting this event, as always. It's a wonderful opportunity for people to get together and find out what's going on in the communities. Again, my name is Kenneth Royal. I'm actually running for Commission District, Super District 7 for 2024. I'm not much of a big talker. I'm a big worker. I do a lot of work in the community. I've been here a long time. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to my website, kennethfordecalb.com. But one of some of the big things I focus on is criminal justice reform, fair housing, infrastructure here in DeKalb County. So if you want to know more about me, I'll be glad to speak to you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw, for this opportunity. My name is Tyshawn Jackson, and I am a candidate for State Court Judge here in DeKalb County. I was raised here, a proud graduate of Ronald E. McNair Senior High School on Boulder Crest Road, and I attended Georgia State University. I tell people the reason why I'm running is that I do not want another 9-year-old child to come home from school and discover that they have been murdered by their domestic partner. That's what happened to me when I was 9 years old, and as a state court judge who will deal with domestic violence issues, I'm gonna make it my purpose, my plan to prevent that tragedy from happening from someone else. So please, I love to have your support. My website is www.tyshawnjackson.com, of course, and I look forward to getting your support, and I do have some material to hand out after the conclusion of this meeting. Thank you so much.
All right. Anybody else?
Any other candidates? All right, well, I appreciate that. Like I said, running for office is hard, so thank you for taking that lead. Alicia, I'm going to ask you to bring me the handheld mic for a sec so we can proceed. All right, so this next thing I want to do is something I started doing in my meetings a few years ago, but I want to call, excuse me, Judge, I want to call your attention to this map of DeKalb County, all right? And I do this on purpose because for years we've been stuck in a paradigm of North DeKalb versus South DeKalb, white DeKalb versus black DeKalb. Well, now that's North DeKalb. This is South DeKalb. This is where we are. Matter of fact, we're almost right there. To me, that looks like the center of DeKalb. There's a thing called Central DeKalb. That's what I've represented for the last 7 years, but I make that point because that paradigm, that shop-worn paradigm, doesn't work for me. This is a big, diverse county, and that North DeKalb, South DeKalb, that hasn't served us well. And I use this map to highlight that point. We are in Central DeKalb, North, Central, South. One big county. Has everybody got clarity on the point that I'm trying to make? All right, then I won't belabor it. So I'll carry on with the rest of my brief remarks. Okay, there's just 2 or 3 things I want to touch on real briefly in terms of updates. So we are in election season. There's an election on Tuesday. Now, most of what's going on in DeKalb County right now are municipal elections, but there's something on the ballot that we can all vote on, which is the SPLOST, Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. And it's actually the renewal of the SPLOST. We all, by a 71% margin, we approved it 6 years ago. It's up for renewal now. I don't want to cross any lines. I'm not supposed to advocate for it, but I'll just share with you, I went to the polls on Tuesday. As a citizen of DeKalb County, I voted for it. I voted for the SPLOST and I voted for the e-host. So the e-host is to provide tax relief for property owners, and the SPLOST obviously is to provide badly needed funding for infrastructure. So over the course of 6 years, and I won't steal Chris's thunder, he'll take you through the full soup to nuts of the SPLOST, but it's a revenue source that we were desperately in need of, and we're still in need of it if we want to continue to see roads get paved and infrastructure get done in DeKalb County. So if you haven't taken the opportunity to vote already, please vote. Steve's not advocating, I'm just informing, okay? Just to make sure we're clear about that. The other thing I want to touch on briefly is a couple weeks ago during one of our Committee of the Whole meetings, I reintroduced DeKalb's adoption of the International Property Maintenance Code. It's a path we started down a few years ago. For whatever reason, it got knocked off the rails, but it's designed as one more tool to help combat blight in DeKalb County. So I introduced it in the Committee of the Whole meeting. It will be going through our normal committee process, which is go through the Planning, Economic Development, and Community Services Committee. So all of my colleagues have a chance to weigh in. We can perfect the document over the course of the next, hopefully no more than a couple of months, but it'll be one more tool that our code enforcement folks will have in their tool shed to help combat blight in DeKalb County. And then the last thing I want to touch on is DeKalb County's budget process. So we are starting to get in the flow of the budget process now. According to the Organizational Act, the CEO is required to present a budget to the Board of Commissioners by December 15th of every year. And then we, in turn, have until basically March 1st to either adopt it, reject it, or amend it. And what we usually do is adopt it with some amendments, okay? Now, there are flaws in our budget process. Couple big ones. Number one is, as I said, the budget is due on December 15th. And I'll try not to get too technical, but our fiscal year starts on January 1st. So we start every fiscal year without a budget in place. Think about that. We start every fiscal year without a budget in place. Now, over the years, we just kind of carry on with the existing budget until we approve it with amendments. But to me, that strikes me as off. And I've thought this for the entire time I've been on the commission, but I got it full on in my face this year because I'm chairman of the budget committee. So I'm the one who had to shepherd everything through the amendment process. So that's one flaw. The other flaw with that, because of the timetable, we don't have what I consider to be sufficient time to deal with the budget. Now, does anybody offhand know how big DeKalb County's budget is? Not you. Put your hand down. Anybody want to offer? I'm sorry. Who did somebody say something? Yes, ma'am, in the back. What do you think? You said billions. It's not billions, but it's 1.5 billion, which is not chump change. Okay. So the problem with the timing is this: we get the budget on December 15th. Our last commission meeting of the year. This year it's going to be a few days later. I think it's December 18th. I'm going to tell y'all something. By the time that last county commission meeting of the year rolls around, I'm ready to check out, okay? I'm thinking about Santa Claus coming down my chimney, all right? I'm not thinking about dealing with a $1.5 billion budget. We get into the throes of the holiday season, Christmas, New Year. We come back, it's January 1st or a few days after, and then we only have until the end of February to deal with a $1.5 billion budget. To me, that's a serious flaw in terms of timing. So we happen to be going through a charter review committee process now, so the timing seemed appropriate for me to make that proposal to change our budget process where the CEO is required to present a budget by September 15th, and then we have until the end of the year to adopt it. And then we start a new year, a new calendar year, and a new fiscal year with a budget in place. So I made that proposal to the chairman of the Charter Review Commission, Senator Steve Hinson, and to my appointee to the Charter Review Commission, Dr. Gerald Austin, and I think they've taken that up, and it sounds like it's on track to be approved. They might amend the dates a little bit, but it'll be, to me, it'll be a monumental step forward in how DeKalb County does its budgeting process. So I just wanted to share those two things with you. And with that, the last thing I will say this morning before I yield back to Alicia is thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for affording me this opportunity to serve as your commissioner. It's been almost 7 years. By the time this term I'm in is completed, it will be 8 years. That's 1 year longer than I was in the Army, y'all. I was only on active duty for 7 years. So it's been a privilege to serve this district and this county in this position. And oh, by the way, since I afforded every other candidate an opportunity to speak, I'll just share with you, I'm a candidate too. I'm a candidate to be the next CEO of DeKalb County. So But I'm not going to go any further than that right now, because this is a official meeting, not a political meeting. But seriously, it's been an honor to serve. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you every day's been a sweetness and light, because it hasn't. I see some of the calls that Robin deals with. I see some of the emails. That's all good. It's part of it. I'm a big boy. I can take it. The bottom line is public service is a privilege. Public service is a privilege. And whatever slings and arrows are attended with serving in roles like this, I'm totally up for it. So thank you for affording me this opportunity. It's, aside from serving this country as a United States Army officer in combat, this has been the privilege of my life. So thank you all very much, and I will yield back to my amazing Chief of Staff. Thank you.
Oops, sorry. Didn't open. Oh, still now. All right, slow internet, y'all. All right, good morning again. Now I'd like to introduce two of our esteemed judges from state court, the Honorable Judge Keisha Story and the Honorable Judge Ronald Ramsey, and they'll be providing an update on state court.
All right, good morning, everyone, and I am Keisha Story, and I will say from the outset that I had medical issues that took away my regular speaking voice. So if you have trouble understanding me, just let me know, and I will either repeat something for you or ask someone to repeat something for me. All right. I want to thank Commissioner Bradshaw for inviting myself and my colleague here, Judge Ramsey, to speak to you about updates of the DeKalb County State Court. I am very pleased to be here, and I just want to say that I have served as a judge in DeKalb County since 2015. I was appointed by then Governor Nathan Deal to serve as a judge, and then I was elected in 2016 and then 2020 to continue to serve, and I'll be on the ballot next year as well to continue serving in this position. And I want to say it has definitely been my honor and privilege to serve, and it has really been a blessing to continue to be here in DeKalb County. And I look forward to providing updates, and Judge Ramsey will introduce himself at this time.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? My name is Ronald Ramsey. I have been around DeKalb for about 40 years, and we both came to the bench at the same time about 8.5 years ago under the appointment of Governor Deal, along with our colleagues Judge Ross and Judge Morris, who has since moved on to the Superior Court. Again, I've served in the NAACP here in DeKalb County. I was the first African-American judge to serve on the Municipal Court of Stone Mountain. Starting in 2000, I served there for 7 years, and then subsequently I was elected to the Georgia State Senate, and I served there for 9 years before receiving this appointment. So I am the immediate past presiding judge over the State Court Division B. That's the people that get all the headaches and troubles and administrative issues. But we were able to navigate the pandemic by shifting, and that's what it required for us to do, to shift in order to continue to serve you, our citizens, and primarily because we had already piloted a virtual platform when COVID hit, then we were just able to flip the switch and then go on over to a platform that Commissioner Bradshaw and the administration provided for us through Zoom, and we didn't really miss a beat. So we just shifted and kept serving the citizens of DeKalb County in that regard. So I want to thank Commissioner Bradshaw for having us and for his leadership and all that we do to continue to serve you, our citizens.
All right. So in 2015, the DeKalb County State Court Traffic Division was established, and it replaced the DeKalb County Recorder's Court that many of you may remember. And the major difference at that time was when the DeKalb County Recorder's Court was in session, the judges were selected by the Board of Commissioners, and it was essentially like an application process. The judges would apply to become judges, and the commissioners would select whoever was the most qualified based on the qualifications. And then essentially it changed to where the judges were actually elected instead of selected by the Board of Commissioners. And that happened in March of 2015 when we were called to serve. The 4 inaugural judges are pictured here, and the first judge is Judge Brian Ross, who currently serves as our presiding judge. Judge Shondina Morris, who is now serving on the DeKalb County Superior Court. Myself, Judge Story, and then Judge Ramsey is also pictured. And this picture is a picture of the DeKalb County State Court as a whole. There are 2 divisions of the DeKalb County State Court, Division A, which has 7 judges, and Division B, which has 4 judges, and that is a picture of all of us there.
All right, so then some legislative changes were made. Again, when the Recorder's Court was abolished, it was a hasty undertaking in the Georgia General Assembly, and they put it together as best they could. But once we actually got on the ground and got in the court, we saw that there were some things missing, some things that needed to be adjusted. And so we were able to get in and work with our DeKalb County legislative delegation to get some changes effected. So House Bill 777 was undertaken, and on May the 3rd, 2021, Governor Kemp signed that legislation into law. And what essentially that did, that renamed the jury division to Division A, that renamed our traffic division to Division B, and gave equity and parity to all judges. All judges now receive 90% of the salary of the Superior Court judges, and it also gave Division B jury jurisdiction. So you do not now have to have a jury trial down at the main courthouse. We can have jury trials at our Camp Circle location as well. It also changed the structure. Historically, the state court has had a senior judge, and that senior judge basically could serve until that person died or left the office. So under this new structure, the chief judge now has a 2-year service rotation. So each of the judges, after serving 2 years, that would cease, and then the next senior judge will then have the opportunity to serve as the chief judge of the court. It also gave all judges voices in the governance of the court. And again, historically, one judge could make all of the decisions to affect the state court on his or her own. And so now each judge gets the opportunity to vote and to agree to the course and organizational structure of the court going forward.
There are 2 divisions, as we have said, of the DeKalb State Court, and Division A is housed in the regular DeKalb County Courthouse, which is in downtown Decatur off of McDonough Street, and it is on floors 3 and 4 of that building. And then Division B is in it was supposed to be a picture, but Division B is in a courthouse that is on Camp Circle, and that is where the old Recorder's Court is. So we're essentially in the same spot, but we're serving as Division B of the DeKalb County State Court.
And we want to thank Commissioner Bradshaw and his colleagues on the commission for approving a budget to allow us to build out a new state court building for Division B on Memorial Drive. You all may be familiar with the location where Watershed was over the past few years. So we have all of the architectural plans in place. We have the furnishing samples that we're reviewing at this time, and we were hoping to get in a lot sooner, but it looks like now the target date would be March 2025 before we can physically move into that building. But we're very thankful for that, because the building that we're in now is an older building, and we just could not accommodate as many people in that location. And now we're finding individuals who, since we're coming back out of COVID, we're still having lines a little bit longer than we would like to see standing out to get inside of the courtroom. So that will certainly be one of the citizen comfort issues that will be resolved once we move into that building.
And Division A of the DeKalb County State Court hears misdemeanor criminal offenses as well as civil offenses and DUIs. And then Division B, essentially, we hear traffic arraignment cases, we hear bench trials and jury trials, and those are all held in Division B of the DeKalb State Court.
And per standing order of the Chief Judge, in anticipation of House Bill 777, the Chief Judge granted Division B judges the authority to conduct DUI cases when requested as well.
So what do the state courts do? We have jurisdiction over the county, counties. One moment, please.
You're going to read mine. It's a little difficult.
All right. So we did already speak about the state court and the jurisdiction and the issues that we do preside over. And again, those are misdemeanor criminal offenses and civil cases, as well as DUIs. We also hear applications for arrest and search warrants, applications for the arrest of teachers. If teachers do something wrong, allegedly, those applications for their arrest are heard in the DeKalb County State Court.
Yeah, it wasn't working for me. Go ahead. Yeah, it stopped working for me. So. Yeah, that's the one. I don't know if we have time to play the video. I don't know if we have time to play the video.
All right, in the state of Georgia, there are 159 superior courts. There are 73 state courts, 159 magistrate courts, also 129 probate courts, 155 juvenile courts. And in the state of Georgia, many different municipalities or cities have courts, and there are 380 of those courts.
So as of the latest census in 2020, it shows that the population of the state of Georgia is about 10,700,000 people plus, but I can imagine that's probably right at about 11 million people right now. And it was showing that the DeKalb County population was about 764,382, and I can imagine we're right there at about 800,000. I'm sure the commissioner can probably attest to that as well. So out of all, imagine 11 million people in the state, and you have under 1,500 judges to handle the legal issues and concerns of all of those individuals who may need to come before the courts for various reasons. So we are in, this is a map of the Metro Atlanta Judicial Circuit. We have about 133 state court judges in the state of Georgia, 95 are full-time and 38 are part-time. In Metro Atlanta, all 58 state court judges are full-time. In Cherokee County, they have 3, Clayton County 5, Cobb County 12, DeKalb County 11, Douglas County 2, Forsyth County 2, Fulton County 10, Gwinnett County 7, Henry County 4, and Rockdale County 2. So this map, the purple area up in the upper left area is what's called our Georgia State Judicial Map for state courts. And DeKalb, Fulton, and Rockdale, we are all in District 7. And I am the past chair of the State Court Council representing District 7. I served there 2 years, and now Judge Eric Richardson from Fulton County is in that role. And this next map I wanted to bring to you all's attention was just to show a disparity of the full-time and part-time judges and the level of service that Georgia citizens get across the board. As you can see, up in the metro area, the big blue area, that's basically where all the judges and lawyers are in the state of Georgia. When I was in the Senate, the first thing I learned was there are 2 Georgias. There's Atlanta, and then there's the rest of Georgia. Yes. And so now, if you look at that map, you can see Metro Atlanta down east in the Chatham, Liberty County area, you know, just a little bit in the middle of the state at Bibb, then down in Dougherty County in southwest Georgia. That's where the full-time judging happens. But the red areas you see, most of these judges are also practicing lawyers as well. So they judge a little bit, they practice law a little bit, but the most telling thing is the white area. So imagine you're living in that white area on the map, and you're represented by, you're going to be prosecuted by a person who comes to work every day to prosecute felonies. So if you have just a little small minor misdemeanor case, you don't want to be dealing with a lawyer or a judge necessarily who comes to work every day eating nails, you know, with felonies. And then, of course, you may have a magistrate judge who also has multiple duties, and or you may have a probate judge over a court in those areas, which is, you know, kind of akin to a legal desert or food desert, you know, as an analogy. And a lot of times when you're in counties less than 95,000 people, that judge is not a lawyer necessarily. Just like as you hear on the news, most jurisdictions can't, you know, attract doctors in those areas. Well, it's difficulty to attract lawyers in those areas as well. Okay.
All right. Regarding who makes the charges, the people that make the charges are, of course, not the judges. The people that make the charges are law enforcement officers, the DeKalb County Police Department and Sheriff's Office. Thank you, Sheriff Maddox. Make the charges, as well as the Georgia State Patrol. And also there are prosecutors that prosecute the charges. And the judges are serving as neutral arbiters of the law and the facts that are before the court. So a lot of times defendants feel as if judges participate in bringing charges against them, but we do not.
Did I jump the gun? Is it your turn? Yeah, next slide. Did we do this? Do we do this? Do we do this? Okay. You gonna do that? Go ahead.
Also, one of the important things in the DeKalb County State Court is we always want to make sure that everyone that comes before us feels as if they were treated fairly, that the process was efficient or fast, and that we were friendly towards them. We realized as much as that we are pleased to serve in the DeKalb County State Court, individuals are not pleased to be in DeKalb County State Court, and we realize that. So we don't want to make the process any more burdensome than it already is. So when you do come to court, we want to make sure that you feel as if you were treated fairly and that the process was efficient for you. And we were friendly towards you, not just the judges, but everyone that's there at the courthouse. We want to make sure that you feel as if you are treated friendly and fairly.
And most people never have to go into a court in their lifetimes, but if they do, our court will likely be the court that they will come into. And so we stress to our staff and our teams that these individuals who are coming in, they're your mothers, they're your sisters, they're your cousins and brothers and fathers. They're not criminals. They're charged with criminal charges, and they are presumed innocent of those charges. And so we will treat them accordingly. We will treat them with courtesy and respect and help them resolve those matters that require their attention coming into court. So this is just a shot of my courtroom. This is pre-pandemic, and I think this was probably taken about 10:30 in the morning, and that means that half the people were already gone, already processed and gone. But we have had some really, really heavy calendars. The calendars were really heavy before as soon as we transitioned, but we had a significant amount of what we call court reform. And then police officers and prosecutors understood that it wasn't necessarily business as usual with the way things had been done, that we're going to take our time, we're going to hear people, we're going to assess their issues and concerns in their cases and treat them fairly, as Judge Story has said. And so once everyone has the same expectation as to what's going to be expected in court, then you're going to only really get the cases that are true cases that really need to be before the court. And that's just another shot in my court. That was a public defender coming up to ask a question. And so now we're going to talk about the virtual calendars. The way our court operates is that if a police officer writes a citation, it goes into a portal and they get populated onto our calendars. But most of you are familiar. Now the police department has the electronic ticketing process, but a lot of you are familiar with the old paper tickets and whatnot. And the only information that was being captured with those old paper tickets was just your address. So imagine COVID hits, we're having to shift to virtual, and then we find ourselves not having any virtual or electronic information to find the individuals who should be coming to court. So we had to shift and locate a data confirmation company to kind of help us match up the addresses and names with the electronic footprint of individuals so that we could then put those into a database and then send them out an electronic notice to come into court. And we did very well considering how fast we had to do it. So on an average, we may have 85% appearance rate on any given day, but on virtual calendars, anywhere from 50 to 60%. But if you can continue to do that consistently, we were able to continue to process the cases here in DeKalb County in a respectable manner. We also, during the pandemic, and I can't take the credit for it, we can't take the credit, but our court administrator at the time had recommended a online case resolution platform. And I had been a certified mediator in my legal career for 18 years, so I was very familiar with that process. It is a very effective process. So basically, the bottom line is that an individual such as yourself, you get a citation or ticket, you can go into the platform, upload your license or the ticket number, and say, okay, I didn't run this red light, or someone tapped my car and pushed me past the red light, or some excuse. Type it in, it'll go to a portal for the prosecutor. The prosecutor will then be able to review that and make you an offer to resolve that case. Once the two of you agree to how to resolve that case, then when I open up my computer the next day, ding, here are your cases, Judge, to be reviewed. And then I go into the portal and I review those and approve them or deny them. And then if I approve them, then click, you'll get a notice how to pay your fine and close your case. So that's been a very effective tool for us. We've had some downtime with it lately simply because a lot of these court software companies have bought each other out, and a lot of the people who have been historically doing the work have shifted around, and so it's caused a little delay for us, but we're about to be back up and running for that very, very soon.
Regarding what the state court does not do, one thing that individuals feel that they can't do is come before the court and ask the court to dismiss their case. They like to talk about, this is what happened, can you just throw my case out? And it just doesn't work that way. Essentially, the police officers decide who will be charged by giving them tickets on the side of the road, and then those individuals come into court. They speak with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor decides if the case will continue going forward. And if it continues going forward, many times those individuals will come up with an agreement with the prosecutor, and that agreement is put before the court to accept or deny. And essentially, that is the court's job. It's not the court's job to dismiss cases. That's the prosecutor's job. And I wish that individuals would understand that, because many times, like I said, we do have to explain that we cannot just throw the case out.
However, again, we bring individuals to court. We tell them that they're presumed innocent of the charges against them. The state has the burden to prove their guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and we give them the opportunity to negotiate with the prosecutors to try to resolve their cases, or if they decline to negotiate with the prosecutors, they have the right to come to the court on their own. But it's interesting to know that of all state cases, 95% of them are resolved with plea negotiations, and 98% of all federal cases are negotiated with plea negotiations. So yes, so you hear about trials, but the lion's share of cases are resolved on the first or second arraignment hearing, or even on the day of trial, because the individuals have been given a better offer by the state, or they come to the conclusion that they simply do not have the evidence to support their claims of innocence. So, but again, it's one thing to accept a plea, but ladies and gentlemen, they often come before us and say, well, I just want to plea and get this over with. And we say, well, that's not going to work, because in order for a judge to accept a plea from any criminal defendant, that judge must know that that plea is given freely, knowingly, and intelligently and voluntarily. So if you come up and you're trying to give a plea with a grudge, we can't take it. We can't take it. And so what I tell them, listen, you're entitled to have a trial, but if you don't have a pure heart about what you're about to do here, then that's not justice. And the one thing that we require and strive toward is all of our citizens getting justice when they come before our court. So we have we've implemented some processes to help people, and I'll let Judge Story talk about her flagship project. Go ahead.
One of the things that we have brought to the court and we serve as a venue for is the Traffic Violators Impact Program. And this is essentially a driver improvement course that individuals that are charged with citations can take. And many times we will mandate that those individuals take that class. Essentially, that class was brought about by a former police officer that has seen many teenagers have many different wrecks and different issues. And so he wanted to come up with a program that teenagers and young drivers could attend that would address some of these issues. And many times he was also on the scene when individuals had fatalities and that type of thing. So he has pictures of those individuals, and then he would give stories about what happened with those individuals that caused the fatality in their case. So it's a very powerful program. It started when I was a prosecutor. I served as a prosecutor before I was a judge. I served as a prosecutor here in DeKalb County, and I served over a diversion program. And I found out about the TVIP, or the Traffic Violators Impact Program, and brought it to the prosecutors to watch. And they saw that it was worthwhile, and we thought that it was worthwhile to bring it to Division A. And so when I became a judge in Division B, because traffic violations are what we typically handle, I thought that it was important for it to be in Division B. So it's there once every quarter in Division B now.
All right, so folks negotiate, they come up with a deal, and ultimately it's the judge's responsibility to close the case out, to accept the case, to accept the recommendation, or to modify that and make adjustments to what the state has recommended. So we must do that we must do mercy with justice and common sense at the same time. And so what does doing the right thing require of judges in circumstances that are uncommon? So what we've done is, oftentimes people come, they want to resolve the case, they want to pay their fine, and they just don't simply have the money at that time. Now, DeKalb County is very fortunate in that we have what's called a public probation program. Most of these smaller counties and cities that I showed you in the white areas and the red areas, most of that's private probation, which means that those counties pay these private companies a fee to monitor these individuals who are on probation in lieu of being in a jailhouse somewhere. And oftentimes, complaints are that there's difficulty in reaching the probation officers, or that the fee structures are too high, et cetera. So we're very, very fortunate in DeKalb County that we have a well-run probation system, and we do our best to try to help you get your cases concluded before going to probation here in DeKalb, as well as it's run, because when you do have to go, then you do have to pay an additional probation supervision fee. So what we have developed in Division B is what's called a post-sentence compliance order. So say, for example, if your fine is $360 at the conclusion of your court sentence, and you just don't have it, you have to pay rent, you just had to buy new tires, we're going to give you 2 to 6 weeks in order to pay that. And we're going to put you on a calendar, 2 to 6 weeks out. And then if you pay that fine online, by telephone, or at the cashier window prior to that time, then your case terminates. And then you'll have to do nothing else. But if you don't pay by that time, you are to return to court. Then you are assigned to the Office of Probation, and then they take over responsibility for your case. You still have to pay that underlying fine, but you also have to pay that probation supervision fee to that agency as well. And so again, I've already touched on the probation issues and the laws. Again, probation is to avoid incarceration, to avoid you having to be in prison while this matter is being, while your debt to society, so to speak, is being paid off. You still get to stay out, have your freedom, and function on behalf of yourself and your families. And also, you want to talk about that?
But a lot of individuals do not want to go on probation. If you give individuals a choice, they would say, I don't want probation. Is there a different way? And the different way that Division B has come up with is individuals will put you on what's called a post-sentence compliance calendar. So we'll go ahead and adjudicate your case, but it's required that your sentence be paid or your fine be paid at a different date. And what I usually do is I will ask individuals, when can you pay the fine? And many times it's when I get paid in 2 weeks, or when I get paid in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. And 6 weeks is the maximum time that I will give individuals to pay their fine without having to go on probation. Because like I said, many people just don't want to be on probation for all of the things that it implies to individuals. So we think that it's a really good thing to do post-sentence compliance instead of probation for those individuals that need it.
And so you're unable to pay your probation, and the judge sees that putting you in a position to have to pay your fine and probation is just not going to be a good outcome for you. So then we can resort to another process called community service, where you can go and work off that fine with a nonprofit agency that's been approved by the county, and for a number of requisite hours that's commensurate with what your fine is, so that you can pay your debt in a manner that's non-monetary. So what happens when even that won't work? When your best efforts are enough and you still have to come up with a good solution for that individual? I personally had individuals who came to court. One young man was leaving for Air Force basic training the next week, so he didn't have time, he didn't have the money to pay, he didn't have time to work it out with community service or probation. There was one young man who had been incarcerated for a number of years in another jurisdiction on other charges, and then he was trying to get his life together, came back to our court, and then was faced with $3,000 in fines from old cases that he just didn't have the money to pay. There was another young man being raised by his grandmother. He didn't have any money, she didn't have any money, and so I asked them all, I said, well, what can you do? Can you paint? Can you clean? And I took my pressure washer over to the courthouse on a weekend and gave them some scrub brushes and paint, and allowed them to work that off over a couple of Saturdays, only one Saturday, so that we could then close their case out, in a manner where they have served their debt to DeKalb County. So you always have to figure out a better way to do things to effect justice, and justice comes in many, many shapes and forms.
One of the best things to do to make sure that justice is served is that we need to have the cooperation of the prosecutor. Like I said, I served as a prosecutor, and it really does help when the prosecutor does have mercy in their heart, and they're also concerned about making sure that justice is achieved. And as long as that is the case, they are working in concert with the court, because that is always the goal.
And how much time, Commissioner, are we tight? We're tight. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We're going to be here if anyone has any other questions for us. These next slides are talking about individuals who are pro se, who want to represent themselves. Everyone has the right to have an attorney to assist them. Most people can't afford an attorney. A lot of them are in the gray area and don't qualify for the public defender to represent them. And so when they do come to court to represent themselves, we have to give them the information to know that they'll be still held to the same standard as an attorney if they go to a trial. and we try to give them other lists of other lawyers who may represent them on what's called a low bono basis. So just continue to be mindful of cell phone use. It is a violation of the Georgia law to hold and use a cell phone while you're driving. I see it 5 times a day just going to and from the courthouse, and it's still killing people, ladies and gentlemen. But if you do find yourself being cited with one of those, if you go and purchase a hands-free device and take that into court, you are entitled to a one-time dismissal for that particular infraction. The other thing that we want to say to you here, our DeKalb seniors, we recognize that it's not convenient physically or financially for some of you to get to the courthouse and have to stand and wait in line if you need to come see us. So because we are back in full-time service at the courthouse, we still are maintaining some virtual calendars for various circumstances. And some of those circumstances are for you who don't want to get out in the cold and stand in a line for an hour. You can simply go to your center director here. We've given you an email address and a telephone number. Simply email that number or call that number. We will put you on a virtual calendar and on a date set so that the judge's staff, and the prosecutor will be available to speak to you virtually and to begin to resolve your case. And so that's our commitment. That's going to be something that is going to be ongoing, because one thing that came out of the pandemic was that we can do things a better way, and you can be in 2 places at one time and help us improve the lives of our citizens. So one of the things that judges do, we also engage in helping shape legislation and the laws, and we'll continue to do that. Judge Story, tell them what committees you're on.
I currently serve on the Educational Committee of the Georgia Council of State Court Judges, and that is essentially a committee that is charged with making sure that judges all over the state are educated on best practices to employ to everyone that comes before them.
And I serve on the Legislative Task Force and Strategic Planning. So, again, that's our time. We're over time, but we thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw. We thank all of you for taking the time to come out and hear us, and do not hesitate to call on us for assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Judge Story and Judge Ramsey, for that presentation. All right. Next up, we have Chris Kingsbury here, who is our program manager for SPLOST.
Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. It's about a 144-page report. I saw Isaac Blyther's walk in. He's your District 4 Citizens Oversight Group representative. We brief them and the board every other month. So it's probably an hour-long show here, Steve. Steve ran out the door. I scared him away. No, really quickly, I think everyone hopefully by now knows what SPLOST is, but sometimes I talk to my neighbors and they're like, I didn't know we had an extra sales tax, and what's my property tax bill again? In this digital age, I guess we're just not, I'm old-fashioned. I washed up here 50 years ago, went to Towers High School, but I guess I'm a young senior. You don't get paper receipts to look at them anymore, so people don't pay attention to it. So the SPLOST program started in 1985, state of Georgia, recognized local governments needed money for capital improvements, buildings, trucks, parks, libraries, courthouses. So it's an extra penny for just capital improvements. You can't use it for operations or maintenance. And Gwinnett County was the first metro county to implement a SPLOST the same year the General Assembly said you could do it. So Gwinnett's on SPLOST 11. We're on SPLOST 1. And what's it gotten us? Well, just in District 4, we had a couple of ribbon cuttings this summer and fall. This is a little pocket park. Countywide, we've done about 2 dozen of these around the county. This is happens to be Washington Park off of Jordan Lane, kind of runs between North Decatur and what's the other street? North Decatur and, gosh, I forget the other side street. But these are great little additions. A lot of the parks in DeKalb County, full disclosure, in 1987, I was working as a consultant for the county. Y'all may remember, we passed a library and bond program, $66 million. Libraries got half, parks got half. So a lot of the things the SPLOSH program has let us do is go back into those 30-plus-year-old parks and replace worn-out player equipment, worn-out picnic shelters. So these are popular neighborhood items. Right around the corner, Wade Walker is one of the premier county athletic facilities. Again, it was expanded with dollars from the 87 bond program that enabled the county to buy the property that was partially donated by the Walker family. And so active right now, and I saw Jackie Steele walked in, she's part of our SPLOSH management team. We've got a large group of firms, a team of folks that help the county implement projects. So SPLOSH dollars are kind of unique. They're separate from the county budget. You go to the store, you pay your tax, buy your gas, buy your groceries. The store sends their sales tax dollars off to the state of Georgia, and then every month the state sends the dollars back. DeKalb is a little unique in that we have a 6-year SPLOSH because all the local governments, Mayor Hammett, everybody else, signed an agreement that said we're all on board with a SPLOSH program. So the state sends the distribution to each of the 12 municipalities based on their population and unincorporated DeKalb based on their population. So we're responsible for helping the county with that extra dollars. We're just kind of extra staff the county has brought on board. So Parks Department doesn't have to worry about implementing these new projects from planning through construction, while they're also trying to keep the grass mowed and the trash picked up. So some of the projects at Wade Walker, if you go out there, we've finished up several of the multi-purpose fields. There's one giant field we just finished. It's striped for both soccer and football. It's a synthetic turf. Don't have to fertilize it, don't have to water it. It's a great scheduling advantage for the county. There's a baseball field that's getting the same treatment that's under construction. You see these giant rolls of turf. Interesting side, almost all the artificial turf in the world is produced in North Georgia and Dalton area. This happens to be a Shaw carpet product. So big dollars. In 1986, in 2016, when the county was planning their first SPLOSH, the staff said, based on we've been paying them art attacks and we kind of know historical trends in the state, and the county folks got together and said, we think we're going to get about $388 million. We're going into the last year of SPLOSH collections. First penny came in April 1st, April Fool's Day, 2018. So to date, we've actually gotten $378 million. So we're running ahead of projections. And of course, the money sits in the bank because SPLOSH is pay as you go. There are 3 absolute rules with SPLOSH programs. You have to wait for the money to come in. You don't bid a project until you've got the money in the bank. Because if you start projects with SPLOSH dollars, you have to finish them with SPLOSH dollars. So we're in SPLOSH 1. And SPLOSH 1 will have some legs that carry over, and whether or not the citizens decide to impose another SPLOSH tax on ourselves, the SPLOSH 1 program stays SPLOSH 1. SPLOSH 2 program will move on with new sets of capital projects. So everything we started in SPLOSH 1, we've got to finish with the dollars we collected, which the last one will roll in March 31st, 2024. So those are sort of and the third thing is they have to be for capital improvements. So we work closely with the administration and the staff to make sure we don't build something we can't operate, right? You don't want to build a new park but not be able to have the staff to run it, or build a new library and not have the staff to operate it. And because we've got money in the bank, all of us have realized inflation has done 2 things. It's driven up the interest rates, so the county's making a lot of interest every month on the money we're holding to implement SPLOSH projects, which is just barely allowing us to keep up with the extra cost of what we have to pay for. Concrete, asphalt, steel, wood, everything has gone up exponentially, as y'all are aware. So it looks like as this program winds down, we could get about $50 million over our original projections. But I can say, as I think I told the board last week when we did our bi-monthly briefing, that should allow us to get close to finishing everything we wanted to start, everything we wanted to have done in SPLOST 1. And one of the key things SPLOST program, when it started, administration and the CEO said, the county has a 20% commitment to local small businesses. It's gender and race neutral, but we want local businesses in DeKalb to have a major role. And Jackie Steele, I mentioned, she's a local small business who's on our team helping provide construction management. But program-wide, all the projects we've led, $250+ million, $100+ million has gone to local small businesses. Everything from painters to grading contractors to resurfacing contractors. 40 total contracts with 71 LSPE subs. And the participation rate is around 40%. And that's, we were asked at the board last week, how do you know those folks got paid that money? Well, one of our jobs as a manager is we look at every invoice that comes in from the general contractor, and we see what the percentage is that he's paying to his various local subs, and we see the checks go back out. We audit that every month. So that 40%, while that was the number that they committed to when they bid the project, when we close the projects out, it's going to be pretty close to that number. And then everybody wants resurfacing. That was a big driver of why SPLOST got passed. It's the biggest portion of the budgets, over 40%. And I can say in just District 4 alone, we're about 70% through the roads that in 2016 were the worst that the administration brought forward. And it was a 300 plus or minus mile list. We've chiseled away at that. We've let 11 contracts, 7 are 100% complete, and they're each average about 25 miles. There's 4 active, which will finish up 100 miles. When we're all done sometime next fall, we will have resurfaced 277 miles. So with inflation and everything else, that's pretty close to that 300-mile target. And for this district, same thing. We're about 71%. There were 277 individual street segments for about 72 miles, and we've paid about 54, 55 miles out of that list. And that's all I've got to say about SPLOST. And like everybody else, we'll be around at the end of the meeting to take questions.
Thank you, Chris. Now we're going to move to the section of our agenda where we will introduce to you the various department representatives. And there are some of you that are scattered in the seating out here. And I would like, if you would like it, appreciate it if you would come forward, and because we'll have mics up here. So we'll start on the end. Major, would you introduce yourself and anybody else that's here representing DeKalb Police?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Some of those are pretty hard acts to follow. I don't have a pretty presentation, so I'll be quick. I'm here representing Tucker Precinct and also coming from Major Barron, who couldn't be here today, a family emergency from East Precinct. Y'all may have saw Lieutenant Ridling. He's wandering about and doing what he does best, and that's just communicating with people. So I just have a couple of things to cover, I guess, and a lot of it was covered through the courts and in Commissioner Bradshaw as well. You know, like him, we see a lot of the negative emails, the negative comments, the news media streams, and all that kind of stuff that makes our profession look bad in a lot of cases. But we push forward through that as well. Every day, these guys are out here, men and women that are out right now serving and protecting to make sure that what you all get to experience is the best quality of life that we can help you to get to. That's a culmination of everything that's done here. That's not just us. That's sanitation. That's the Sheriff's Department. That's roads and drainage. That is the code and compliance. That is all these different entities working together to try to do the best we can. So a lot of the stuff that you see that you don't like, you're not the only one that sees it. We're also trying to do the best we can to get it fixed, but we do ask you guys to bear with us because it does take time. Nothing is done overnight. To their point on citations, please don't wait for a ticket to try to figure out how to fix your problem. Don't wait for a ticket to get a free pass because you were holding your phone when you could have got a hands-free device. They are absolutely correct. Fatalities are a huge problem. You are more likely to die in a car than you are by pretty much any other means. And that is greatly attributed to people not paying attention, not following simple rules of the road. So don't be surprised when you're stopped by a police officer and given a citation because you're driving too fast, or because you're not paying attention, or because you ran a red light. Don't get mad at the officer for doing their job. They're here to try to protect you. They're here to reduce those traffic fatalities, and unfortunately, the only way to do that is to stop the people that are doing that. understand that if you're stopped for anything, if you're involved in a domestic violence case, the officer makes an arrest based off probable cause. That's it. They make the arrest. They're not saying you're guilty. They're not saying you're innocent. They're saying this is what happened. We have to take this to the next level. Then the courts and the judges and the attorneys who do the best that they can to adjudicate those cases and assess a penalty that's appropriate for the situation. So I say all that to say, don't wait for us to do something on your own. This is a partnership. We can't do it on our own, and we can't expect you to do it on your own. So work with us, and we'll work with you. I ask simply that you guys follow us on social media. We have a Facebook page, InstaFace, Instagram, whatever you want to call it. Follow it. It's DeKalb County Police Department. It's a great site. We post a lot of what we do. We post a lot of the upcoming meetings for those that were at the Senior Summit that was held this past week. There was a great attendance for that. We are going to hold 3 more of those in the next couple of months. And we also are going to be hosting some other events. And of course, we have Coffee with a Cop and things like that that happens every single month. Every precinct in this county runs probably 4 meetings at the minimum per month. So if you're not making one of those, don't get mad that you don't hear from us, because we're here. So we want you guys to work with us, and we'll work with you. Overall, I think the most important thing I can say for Tucker Precinct specifically is we have an overall reduction in violent crimes. Okay, that's the crimes against persons. Those are the ones that we're talking about: sexual assaults, aggravated assaults, things like that. We do see an increase in property crimes. You guys have seen it in the news. Vehicle break-ins are always the biggest concern. Those are generally perpetrated by very small groups of people. We ran a big operation, included a lot of District 4, where we identified 29 people responsible for over a couple hundred vehicle break-ins, not to mention nearly 50 stolen vehicles, I think it was. I haven't had the exact numbers in front of me, but loads and loads of those things. We identified 29 of those people, and in the matter of a month, we arrested 27. I'd say that's pretty good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So I'll end that by saying, what can you guys do in addition to working with us? Make sure you are registering your cameras. If you have home surveillance systems, if your HOA or your POA or your neighborhood association has some form of cameras, register it. ConnectDeKalbCounty.org is a great place to register those cameras through the Fuchsia system, F-U-S-U-S. I have some information on that if you'd like after the meeting we can discuss. But register your cameras there. If you don't have flock and you want flock in your neighborhood, those are license plate readers. We partner with those. Those things are great investigative tools for us. Nobody is monitoring what you're doing. We don't want to know when you went to Kroger last. We don't want to know when you went to your girlfriend or your boyfriend's house. We don't care. All we want to know is your car stolen and are you wanted? Those are the 2 things that we look for in that system. We use that a lot. Just the other day, we were able to arrest a carjacking suspect by utilizing that system. So that's what we're looking for. We're not looking to see what you do. We don't. I'll be honest with you. We don't care. Do you, will do us. So please continue to partner with us and just be, like I said, just being patient with us, be on next door. That's really all I have.
Thank you, Major
Thanks.
Harden. And if you want more information and details about the meetings that Major Harden just mentioned, of course, we provide that information in our newsletter. There's a wealth of information in our newsletter. If you're not currently getting it and on Monday you want to know when the next meetings are, just be in touch with our office and we'll make sure you get that information. And then I just want to add to the last comments you were making about flock cameras. Flock cameras are something that the administration and the police department have really aligned themselves together on, and District 4, we're very pleased about that. Commissioner Bradshaw was one of the first commissioners to take funding from his discretionary dollars to put flock cameras in District 4. So it has taken off because other districts saw, oh, this is a good tool for the police department, and it's a good thing that the county at large is now implementing and putting flock cameras throughout the county.
And if I could just say, it's a great tool for us, absolutely. It's an investigative tool for us. But it's more importantly, it's a good tool for you, for you and your community. It isn't about helping us. It's about helping yourself. Yes, help us, but help yourself. We help those who help themselves, right? So if you want to put a camera in your neighborhood, advertise it. It's not a secret.
Right.
It is not a secret. We have cameras. Don't come here. Go somewhere else. That's where it works.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
I see a hand back there, but we'll get to you during Q&A when we have a mic. Director Hutchinson, you're up.
Okay, great. Good morning to everyone. I am Tracy Hutchison. I'm the Director of Sanitation and Beautification, and thank you for the invitation to be here this morning. So sanitation, we just wrapped up the summer. You know, our employees are happy that the 100 degrees are behind us. And this is the first summer, I would say in 19 years, that I did not have an employee to fall out due to the heat. So that's a good thing on our behalf, because at least once, every summer, I always have at least one employee due to dehydration. They don't drink enough fluids while they're out in the back of the trash truck. So we're glad to see the fall weather come through. Just want to go over one most important thing that we have been dealing with a lot in sanitation, which is the trees. But before I start with the trees, just want to remind everyone that we have the Thanksgiving holiday coming up. We actually got Veterans Day this week coming up. Veterans Day is going to be on a Friday, and our service run Monday through Thursday, so it's not going to affect the residential collection service. For Thanksgiving, we are off. The county is closed Thanksgiving Day, which is that Thursday, and that Friday. Sanitation works that Friday. Only the crews are working that Friday to pick up the Thursday residents to have garbage for that Thursday. Our offices are not going to be open. I'm assuming that you guys are not going to be there, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So the crews would be there on Friday to actually pick up the residents that got their garbage for that Thursday. Christmas would be on that Monday. We're going to run one day behind like we normally do. So Christmas will be that Monday. If your garbage service that Monday, we pick you up that Tuesday. So that week, we will run Tuesday through Friday, okay? And we still have some calendars available. I cannot believe it's already November. The year has gone by. We still have some calendars available. I did bring some with me. They are outside on Robin's desk, so please make sure that you get a calendar. But we're down to our last few holidays for the year. But just please make sure that if you're that Thursday resident for Thanksgiving, that we will be there that Friday morning. Next thing I want to talk about is the special collection fees. We still have a lot of residents that basically are just not really understanding the fees. So the fees have gone up. How we did business in sanitation just even a couple of years ago is not how we do business today. So the special collection fees, if you get this form right here, this requires you to pay a fee for sanitation to return to pick those items up. The biggest thing that we're dealing with right now due to the weather, we've had a lot of storms that have been hovering over the county. We have had, a drought going on with the amount of rain, the trees. Residents are proactively taking down trees, and/or trees are just unsafe. You taking down the trees. What we find, and this is a picture that we found at a resident's house, you want sanitation to come back and pick this up. We're not the tree cutting service. We service a roll cart at the curb of your house. So when you are looking for these companies to come in and cut down these trees, it's really good to get that company, speak to that company about removing that tree and cutting that tree down to smaller parts, taking that tree away while you have the contractor on site. For whatever reason, the tree contractors in DeKalb tell the residents, oh, call DeKalb Sanitation, they'll pick it up for you. We won't pick the trees up. If they're only, we would pick them up, but it's got to be another fee you got to pay us. And now the cost to pick the trees up now, the minimum cost to pick up the trees is $200. If we pick up one load, it's $450. And the trees have to be cut. We don't have material and equipment to cut this type of stump up. We don't have material and equipment to cut that tree up. The tree contractor that left had the equipment. So then you're stuck at your house with this stuff sitting there with the holidays coming up. Nobody wants this in front of their house. So the sanitation department, we got a lot of phone calls. Commissioner Bradshaw office get a lot of phone calls about trees. So we are the sanitation department. When you have weather, bad weather come through, roads and drainage handles a lot of the tree issues. Now, if you have a tree or some branches that's overgrown, it's a safety hazard, it's at a stop sign, preventing you from, being safe, call my department, beautification, we'll come out there and we'll trim that back for you. But we don't take down trees in beautification either. But will we be there to actually assist? If you got overgrown areas need to be cut back on the county right away, we don't come onto private property, but we will come out there and we will take care of that. We will escalate that because we want you to be safe. So if you got any issues like that, beautification has a phone line. That number is 404-294-2010. And I have an employee, her name is Danielle Brown. She answers the phone from 8 to 4:30. If you got an escalation as far as safety go, we will hire a contractor immediately to come out there and trim those trees back so you can see the stoplight, you can see the stop sign, whatever the case is. If you walking down the side, especially if you've got the kids walking down the sidewalk, the trees are falling over their heads, stuff like that, no issue. We will escalate that and we'll get that taken care of immediately. There are some things that we'll just escalate up to the top. Anything concerning safety, we don't want kids in the street trying to walk around that they can't safely walk down the sidewalk. We do not want that. So we will escalate that as quickly as we can. But please be sure that the tree issue has become, I think, one of our #1 phone calls that we're getting right now. We're kind of accustomed to getting the phone calls for the evictions. It's either the marshal eviction or the renter, the homeowner that owns the house, the renter moved out in the middle of the night, and then he got to come out and put the whole house to the curb. So we're kind of used to those phone calls, but we have a huge uptick in the tree calls now. And the trees have become a huge issue. But in order for sanitation to come, you would need to pay that fee up front before the truck comes out. The collectors are not going to pick this up. The collectors are going to pick up your roll cart, your recycling cart that's at the curb. They're not going to pick this material up. So just want to make that very, very clear. I need to be really quick, so I know we got David, we got Watershed to go. Just wanted to quickly go over the approved and the not approved containers. We're servicing DeKalb County roll carts only. So if you got the 95-gallon roll cart, the blue recycling roll cart, that's what we're going to service. If you go to Home Depot and Lowe's and put these other carts out, we're not servicing those carts. If you need a second roll cart, please come to my office. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. The lobby is open, and get a second roll cart. The second roll cart will increase your sanitation assessment fee. Your sanitation assessment fee is on your annual tax, it's on your tax bill. I think your bill come out twice a year. Well, you got the assessment, then the bill come out. I think, can you do one payment or two payments in DeKalb? Two, okay. It's on your bill. I don't live in DeKalb, I live just right outside DeKalb in Gwinnett. But it's on your bill. It's on your bill. Your sanitation assessment fee is there. If you need a second roll cart, come to the office and get a second roll cart. The excess bags is a special collection fee. If you got carpet, if you got C and D material, that's a special collections fee. If you got one mattress or one box spring, that's included in your assessment fee that you pay. If you got a chair, if you got a sofa, that's included in your assessment fee. The bigger item, the furniture is included in your assessment fee. The excess bags, if you got 10 excess bags sitting outside your roll cart, we're not going to pick those up. That's a $100 minimum fee. Or come to sanitation and get a second roll cart. So please, please, please be sure that visit our website. We spend a lot of time on our website to make sure everything is up to date and very, very clear. I think it's very, very important that residents have the information. that they need to make sure they have a clear understanding. We're there in the neighborhoods every week, 52 weeks out the year. We're probably the most visible department in the entire county, the hardest working department in the entire county. But please be sure that everything is ready to go when the collectors get there. And lastly, I just wanted to say a thank you to the mayor of Pine Lake, Mayor Hammett. I don't know if she's still back there or not. She left. So the mayor came to us some years ago, and also Stone Mountain also, I don't know, the council, came to us some years ago. They had the private sector in and approached the DeKalb Sanitation about us providing the service for them. But we have built such a good relationship with the council folks over there, the mayor over there, the mayor of Pine Lake. And thank you guys, because you guys had choices, and you guys decided to go with us. But it's my goal as the sanitation director to provide good customer service to all residents, no matter, as Commissioner Bradshaw has said, north, south, black, white. We don't discriminate against zip codes. Trash is trash. And y'all want us to pick it up. So it doesn't matter what side of town you're on. We just got to go get the trash. And if this trash is stink on the north side, it stink on the south side too. You just want us to pick up the trash service. But again, as sanitation director though, it is my goal to provide good customer service to all residents of the county. And again, thank y'all for the invitation for coming this morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Hutchinson. Commissioner Bradshaw, I'm looking at the time, and I just wanted to alert folks that we are probably going to go over our 11 o'clock hour because we do want to give you an opportunity to ask questions and for us to be able to respond. We'll keep that within the 30-minute time frame that we have set on the agenda. So I'll ask my upcoming speakers if they can help us with the time management, and I will introduce Director David Hayes.
Good morning. I'll be brief. As she said, we're lacking time. I'm Director of Watershed Management, David Hayes. It's an honor to direct and a team of about 700 individuals that provide the water and sewer service to you. We currently produce or deliver to homes and businesses about 70 million gallons of drinking water per day, and we collect just at 36 million gallons per day of wastewater and treat that and put it back into the rivers and streams for other people to use downstream. Unlike sanitation, we are 24/7. We don't get holidays off. But we have a great team of people and individuals that pride themselves on producing the best drinking water in the state of Georgia. And we do provide a great deal of good service. That being said, we have about 5,800 miles of pipe in the ground. A great deal of this pipe is extraordinarily old. Some pipe is old as 80 to 90 years of age. With the support of the commissioners, Commissioner Bradshaw, and the direction of the CEO, I can proudly say that Watershed has been very aggressively trying to update, replace this aged infrastructure to improve our services to you. And over since 2017, we have made leaps and bounds. We've replaced more than 100,000 miles of water pipe in the ground. We've replaced over 150,000 linear foot of sewer pipe in the ground, and we still have a great deal to go. But I have a great team who are working very hard to replace this infrastructure and to give you the quality of water that you so deserve. So thank you for being patient with us as we're undergoing all of this construction. We're opening your roads and the front of your houses. That's a little painful at the time, but again, it's for a good cause because what we're doing is going to allow DeKalb to continue to grow, and it's going to allow us to continue to provide service to you for another 50 to 70 years. Thank you.
Thank you. I got my code compliance representatives here. Who's speaking? If you can come forward, thank you. Then we're going to pass the mic to you two.
Am I going to be able to talk about a problem?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes.
We're going to get to Q&A. There you go.
Good morning. My name is Graylin Benefield, and I'm the new supervisor for the corridor team of code compliance. What the corridor team does is that we inspect businesses. We make sure that they are in compliance with everything in regards to whether they have business license or whether they have any code violations as well. The corridor team, excuse me, the corridor team was formed in 2019. We've made some progress, but we still have a lot of things to do. One of the things the corridor team does now is not only do we inspect businesses, but we are also involved in the video surveillance program some of you all probably have already heard about. We're looking forward to completing that program for this year, as we just started June 30th of this year in regards to the video surveillance program. And we also looking to do other things in regards to what we are involved in the corridor aspect of businesses. And that's about all I have to say. Oh, yeah, I do need to introduce Senior Officer Torres. He's a member of my team. And we also have Officer Dixon. He's a part of the residential team here. All right.
What's your contact information? Thank you, sir.
My personal number, county number, I should say, is 404-392-0002. You can reach me at glbenefield@DeKalbCountyGA.gov.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're just going to come on in line.
Hi, good morning. My name is Deborah Furtado with Human Services, representing Damon Scott, our director, who cannot be here today. So Human Services, we provide services for youth all the way to seniors, and Jessica's going to tell you more about this building. But a couple updates from Human Services. We also manage the grants for DeKalb County. So we're in the final stages. We've finished our process. Actually, over 50 nonprofits, including those that provide victim assistance services. We'll be recommending those to the commission in the next few meetings, I think, that are coming up. Also, we have a major intergenerational volunteer tutoring program in DeKalb County, where we partner with United Way in the school district and also AARP. That program will be starting December 1st, a little bit later this year, but it's a great program. Been able to help over 70% of the students that participate K through third grade have increased 1 or 2 grade levels in reading. So it's very important, because that's a real issue for us in the county, with only less than 30% of the kids K through third are reading at grade level. So very important. Also on our youth services, our new youth commission will be approved, I think, by the end of the year. So that's exciting. Youth representing all the high schools in DeKalb County. So, and without further ado, Jessica, you want to tell them about this beautiful center that we share with Parks and Rec?
Sure, I'll keep it brief. I see a lot of familiar faces in here, so shout out to the seniors. I just wanted to just inform you all that we are opening up membership. So now we have membership for all of the seniors in the county that are eligible for membership, that meet the membership requirements. So the requirements for membership is that you must be 60 or older, must be independent and active, and have the ability for self-care, of course, be a resident of the county, and pay the required membership fees. So we are welcoming all seniors here in the building. I have a table set up out here that will provide you more information. So I know y'all happy to hear that. I am too. So I have a table out here for more information about our programming schedule, some things that we have planned for the month. So I'll be on hand to answer any questions for you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Darryl Blackwell. I work for the Community Development Department. And my director, Alan Mitchell, wants to give all of you his regards for the great work, and for all the citizens of DeKalb County, as well as the great Commissioner, Stephen Bradshaw, and the CEO, and for the great work that has been happening for many years. Community development, we built this beautiful building along with contractors. It's a great building. We build senior centers. We build parking lots, we build parks and rec facilities, we just do a lot of different things. But the main thing that we do is we get input from the community. So these buildings are your buildings. We want you to enjoy them. We want you to, from whether you're 5 years old or 90 years old, we want you to continue to be alive and be vibrant. So thank all of you very much, and stay tuned for more projects as we move forward. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Kimball, you want to come and introduce yourself and tell us who you work for?
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Kimball. I am a special projects manager for planning and sustainability. I'm actually here on behalf of our director, Cedric Hudson, and I'm here with my lovely... Wow. Okay, so I'm here with Ms. Liddell Mitchell, who's the customer service administrator. So we do all of the permits, business licenses, and we also work hand in hand with code compliance, as well as Alicia and Commissioner Bradshaw. We focus heavily on the late night establishment task force. We focus on the hotel, motel, and multifamily, which you all know as apartment complexes. We work on that, and we also work with the Memorial Drive task force as well. So be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Did we get everybody that's representing a DeKalb County department? I think we did. All right, so now we're going to go to Q&A, and I got you. We're going to go to this gentleman back here who had his hand up earlier, and we're going to do this orderly, and I am holding the mic.
Thank you. My biggest question is, if we wanted to get and I now forget the name of the camera systems in our communities, I think that's phenomenal. I think that's a way that we can all be vigilant. Who do we contact, and how is that funded?
Okay, so I think I can answer most of that. So that is community funded. That is something that you do in your own HOA or your own home. But connectdekabcounty.org is the website. That kind of links you to what's called the FUSUS system, F-U-S-U-S. And what that does is let you register the cameras that you may have in your community. Registration is free. It costs nothing to register. If you would like to share that feed live, kind of like a real-time crime center kind of deal, you can do that. That is based on the number of cameras you have. It's a very small fee depending on the number of cameras you have, but that's all done through that company. Flock is the other one that does license plate readers. That can be found at flocksafety.com, and then you'll get a representative from the company that will go over what you can get, and then once it's put on live, we basically get the information from the company saying, hey, this camera is live, and that feed is automatically shared with us immediately. Is an annual cost to those. It has changed somewhere around $3,000, I think now, for the annual cost on a single Flock camera. Fuchsia's cameras or whatever camera you own, it is what it is. It's a $100 camera, it's a $100 camera. So hope that answers your question.
All right, we got a question over here.
Yes. Oh, sorry. My name is Colleen Coy, and I'm here because of a problem I've been having with my yard. Commissioner Bradshaw mentioned something about blight. It's a blight on my community, as my neighbors would tell. It was beautiful. It was dug up by watershed, and they said they would replace my plants and my grass. I've contacted Commissioner Bradshaw's office. I've spoken to him. I've sent emails to Robin. Nothing's being done. It's only when something drastic and you hear them on the news or they show. I don't even go there because to me it's funny, but it might not be funny to some of you guys. But I really want my yard fixed. Who is going to do it if I can't get help from Commissioner? You all talk nice and you can get help and you can do this, but I'm living proof that nothing has been done. It's been going on 3 years. And my neighbors will tell you how beautiful the front of my yard was. Is that it? That's it.
So we'll have Director Hayes. He's here, and he can sidebar with you after the meeting. Okay. Is that okay? All right.
I thought I heard in sanitation that you pick up mattresses and small furniture. All right. How long does it stay on in front of a house or street before something is picked up, because I see in central DeKalb, I drive around all of this neighborhoods, and they stay out there for weeks and months.
So residents, we have on our website, you could go to our bulky portal, go to the bulky portal and submit that request through the bulky portal. We have a truck that basically, a employee that stays in that truck 5 days a week. And so as the list comes up and we have a customer service rep, she monitors that portal 5 days a week. So we are dispatching and picking up items basically 5 days a week. But go to the portal, submit the address. If you have your phone, you could upload a picture right in the portal and we can see exactly what you have at the curb. And then if that doesn't work, if you're not tech savvy, call 404-294-2900 and tell the customer service rep that you need assistance with submitting a bulk request.
All right, so
The key.
that the residents that don't call you, if I see something, I can take a picture and report it?
We would prefer the homeowner to do it.
Well, they're not doing it, obviously.
Yeah, we would prefer the homeowner to do it. We would prefer the homeowner to do it. But if it's, because a lot of times, again, when we're out there, sometimes people could say, this is not trash. We have had a lot of instances where we've had to go back and say, I need to be paid for this, I need to be paid. We have picked up stuff because a resident said this is an eyesore, it's been sitting out there, and we've had to go back and literally go back and forth with the resident because they said this is not trash. So we prefer it to come from the resident. Unless it's an abandoned home and no one is in the home, that's different.
Well, apparently residents don't know that they're supposed to.
You could call.
More communication going out to residents.
So what I would encourage,
years and I see trash every day, and it sits there for weeks and weeks.
what I would encourage that resident to do,
On Main Street Park Drive, it's been there for like 4 weeks, one chair, and it's sitting there. It seems to me that since sanitation sees it, they're driving right past them to pick it up. No?
so what I would encourage residents, there's a lot of residents that's really engaged in their communities. I would encourage those residents to call code enforcement.
Right.
Call code. We work extremely close with code.
Yeah.
I would encourage those residents to call code because once they get to the commissioner's office, I usually check in with code. I'll ask Director Hardy, hey, do you have a case number on this? And then that would give me the case number and that would give me the date. And then it also would let me know that this item's been sitting out there. Sometimes we had evictions that would sit out there for weeks at a time also because, again, it's scattered all the way back to the front of the house. I can't go on the property to pick the material up. So a lot of times I'm asking Director Hardy to, hey, do you have a case number on this? Has anybody submitted it? I strongly suggest to residents to actually get in touch with code enforcement first.
A couple of other questions for you. Those roll carts, the wheels are beginning to come, like mine. It's beginning to come on. I can't pick up and take it in there to you. Is there any way that they can exchange it for a new one that's?
Absolutely. We have a roll cart team. It's a supervisor and 4 drivers. That's all they do 5 days a week. So if you give me your information, you do not get a new cart. We have replacement parts.
Okay,
Everything on the cart can be replaced except the body, the wheels, the axles, the top. I can replace everything on that roll cart. If that body is still good, if you give me your information today, I will go back to my office on Monday, submit it to the supervisor. We'll come out there and we will replace the wheels on your cart.
Okay.
And one other thing. Okay. Senior citizens who cannot roll their cart out to the curb, is there anything that can help?
Yes, ma'am. So we have backdoor service, and we just need the backdoor service. So I didn't bring any applications with me today, but if you go to our website, the application is there. You need to, what happens is a resident will fill it out, supply medical documentation, and then every year you self-certify yourself. Once you're approved, Sanitation department puts a sticker on your mailbox on both sides. Then that driver would know this is a backdoor service. We get out the truck, come up your driveway, pick the service to cart, and then you don't have to worry about it from there.
Good morning. Question for Human Services. On the tutoring program, how can I find out who's eligible, what that looks like, as well as any future volunteering for that program?
Yeah, so on the
Hold on.
program, yeah, we've,
And can you also give your name?
Yeah, Deborah Furtado.
Yeah, Deborah Furtado, I'm surprised to get a question about sanitation or police. All right.
We're thankful.
Yes, we have finished, we've finished with all, we don't need any more volunteers right now. Okay, the program is starting. But if you go to the Human Services website, go to DeKalb County site, and you can click right on our department, Human Services, and that'll take you to our site and give you more information about volunteer opportunities. And we'll start recruiting again for volunteers for the tutoring program this next summer. We'll start that. But we have other volunteer opportunities as well on the website.
So would that site also tell me what children or what, would that site also tell me who's eligible as far as the students in DeKalb?
Yeah.
Do they have to attend DeKalb County schools?
Yeah,
or private schools that are in the county? What does that look like?
Yeah, I won't give you that much information, but I can tell you that it's K through third grade. The school district selects the kids, okay, based on their test scores and where they are as far as their grades. And any questions you have about participating in the program, there are 6 schools right now participating. Definitely ask the principal of your school, and they can recommend to be part of the program, and then United Way can add them to the program as we go along. We started off with 4 schools, now we're up to 6, and we keep adding them.
All right, I'm sorry. So what about the schools, the private schools that are located in DeKalb County? They're not eligible?
No private, we're not
Okay.
including private, sorry.
All right.
Yeah, they can afford their own tutor, sorry.
Is it on? I don't hear it on. I can be loud. My first question. Because the people on YouTube can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good morning. My first question, I have a 2-part, is for the officer. Cops and conversation, where can I find that information? Because you said you have it once a month. Coffee with a cop, I mean.
Coffee with a cop, yeah. Conversation. We love to have conversations. So Coffee with a Cop is posted, depending on the precinct you live in. It's all posted on the main Facebook page for DeKalb County. So if you just look for our Facebook page for DeKalb County Police Department, there's only one Facebook page for all the precincts. You will see it posted and the dates of when those are and the locations that they'll be. In addition, you can get with your precinct's public education specialist. They can get you in the email group or on Nextdoor. If you're on Nextdoor, it's also posted on Nextdoor.
Okay. And then my second question is, I know the sanitation department, you state that is a certain limit when it comes to the trash that the sanitation department picks up. What was that quantity? Because for myself, I'm a renter, and I've been in my rental house over 10 years. And I know in the last year in the last couple of months, I noticed that the workers are only allowed to just do the garbage piece, just pick up the wheel carts. Now with me, I'm an auntie and I'm a mom, so I'm the hangout house. So when the school is out, I get all the kids, nieces, nephew, and everything. So I get over excessive with the trash. And by luck, I have had good neighbors. They have allowed me to throw my trash in their bin because I cannot, and then sometimes on Thursday, I take off work just to make sure that I stand outside. So when I hear the truck coming down the street, I'm actually out there. When he pulls the cart, I'm throwing my trash in also on the truck as well. So I'm trying to figure out what is the limit, because I know for me, especially during the summertime, them 8 weeks some kids are out of school, I get excessive trash. And I know a lot of people would get excessive trash, but I feel like, okay, if it sit out on the curb nice and neatly, because even I still have the recycling bags. And the recycling people told me they can no longer pick up the bags. I'm like, it's a recycling bag. Why can't y'all pick up the recyclable stuff in that bag? Because the thing is, for me, my owners of my house don't live in this country. So I cannot go down to the office and get a recycler thing. So I was just like, you know what, I just, I use my neighbor recycling thing.
Unfortunately, you just answered your own question. As a renter, we're not allowed.
Because like most of the places, houses in DeKalb County, like 60% of our renters. There's not a lot of owners here in DeKalb County, or a lot of counties.
So only the owner can order additional roll carts for their assessment fee to go up. So if the owner of your home calls sanitation, approves it, and they come and pay the fee has to be paid up front. Renters, you cannot, sanitation has no authority to increase a homeowner's sanitation fee for a renter. We don't have authority. We provide a service, a core business, a service. So you just answered that question, because that was my question for you. And as you continue to talk, you answer the question for me. If you're the renter, and this goes to everyone, if you are the renter of the house, you cannot increase the sanitation assessment fee as the renter. Only the owner has that authority to do that. And I apologize to you for that one, but we have no authority to increase anybody's fees. We just provide the service.
But what about the recycling bag?
That is, I would like to get your address. We still service bags. That's just a collector, just unfortunately being lazy on that one. The bags, because now we haven't sold bags in our building in probably 10 years.
Because when I first started, I came and got the little small recycling and the bags. I still have them. So I've been using those, but when they told me they weren't picking them up no more, I was like, oh, okay.
The bags were they were like 30-gallon bags. We haven't sold bags. I don't know how many residents still got bags, but we haven't sold bags in our building in over 10 years. So if it's a new collector, they could not even be familiar with the bags, because we haven't sold bags in our building at least for 10 years. We stopped selling those bags probably 10 years ago. So it could be a new collector, but if you still got bags and you putting true recycling in that bag, just empty containers, they should pick that bag up.
Two quick questions. I'm a homeowner off Rockbridge. I think you said either a mattress or a sofa. I have a sofa that the dog split one of the cushions. So if I put that out, you said that's included in the fee. Do I just need to call them and tell them that, or is it automatic? Or
Yes, ma'am. That is 100% correct.
Okay, so so just put it out with Wednesday's trash?
I would call
first
and make sure you got it out there, because again, I think call the 404-294-2900 number. But the quicker service to do is to go through the website and put it in the portal. Because there is a young lady that sits there and look at that portal all day long.
Okay. And second quick question, the infirmary, the crematory, do we know where we're at on the crematory on Memorial Drive?
Yes.
Okay.
What's your question about the crematory?
Is that going to go or no go?
No, sanitation still manage the crematory. We still have the crematory there.
Okay. But they're going to be allowed to, they're allowed to do it even though nobody wants it?
Are you referring to the funeral home?
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know if that is open, but a crematory is not a approved use.
Right.
Okay. Funeral home is, a crematory is not.
No. This is for sanitation picks up the roadkill. Somebody picks up the roadkill. We pick up the roadkill.
She's talking about
operate the incinerator, crematory. This is not open like to the public or anything like that. So the roadkill, was that your question?
No, she was talking about something else.
About that Boston thing.
I saw you, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. No, nothing to do with me. Okay, you talking about the one, the old Piccadilly's?
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, no, nothing to do with me. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. In reference for the judges for the driver course program, is that something that is provided as a probation thing? Like, is that for probation or something voluntary?
It usually is offered as a probationary tool, but individuals that are not mandated to attend can attend. And we usually do a press release so that you can get more information. But if you go to tvip.org, you'll figure out, you'll find out when the program is offered and you're able to come.
Okay, and then also for the PSC orders, is this information educated and navigated to the individual who has an offense in the beginning, or is that something that their parole or probation officer provides to them?
We give them that information in court, so essentially as soon as they are adjudicated, then we'll ask them, are you able to pay your fine today? Okay. And they'll say yes or no, and if they say no, we'll offer them the post-sentence compliance.
Okay, and one more, okay. And then can you repeat, I didn't get the correct email. It said, you mentioned something about seniors, if they're not able to make it to court, they can do something online webinar?
The virtual.
Virtual.
That's S. Solomon.
Okay.
2.
The number 2?
Yes.
Okay.
At DeKalb County
.gov, okay. Yeah, I had one, yes. Is it called the Splash or something about the playground?
The SPLOST, Chris was given an update on some of the work that we had done.
Okay, I'm wondering, for quality assurance, have you cleaned up the playground that's right behind Wade Walker Park? That's a park that I utilize for my grandbaby because in my area, that's the closest park. I called in once upon a time, like back in December of last year, February and April of this year, and there's still mildew on it.
Yeah, give Steve's folks your phone number, we'll get Chuck Ellis and the Parks Department to check out.
Okay.
Right, that would be a Recreation and Parks matter, and you can give Robin that information and we'll follow up.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Good morning. This question, come back. Yeah, okay. This question is for Director Hudson. Good morning. I want to thank you for your service and all your workers, your employees, helping to keep DeKalb safe and clean. I do have a question about the bulky items issue. I think several of the women over here kind of mentioned it already. There are people that are leaving, moving out of their homes. If you go down South Harrison right now, you see bulks of couches, chairs about this high, and I'm not embellishing, it's like this high, right? So if they don't call the sanitation department or take pictures and upload them to your server, how will it get removed? And my understanding is this is a new policy, like over the 4 years ago or so. At one point, DeKalb County used to pick up garbage and bulky items together, and somehow that changed. And I just wanted to get the reasoning of why it changed or how it changed, just get the history of it, so I can understand it better. And lastly, will you guys be considering revisiting this issue, because obviously the residents, everyone is not on the same page, or there's a drop in communication. People don't realize they have to contact the sanitation department. Obviously, they're putting the furniture out for you guys to pick it up, but they don't understand that they have to contact you guys for those items to be removed. But if you can address that for me, please.
Sure. The Special Collections Department of Sanitation has always existed for the time that I've been here for 19 years. But we had a program in place that was called Clean Sweep. Twice a year, the resident knows it. But we would go in there and pick up items, a whole house plus some, free, complimentary. All that it's just the resources available to do that. We're like everyone else. We're short-staffed, the resources, the trucks, everything. And during COVID, even my general foreman, my executive staff had to get in a truck and drive a trash truck. because we didn't know what was going on with COVID. The world didn't know. So when you got material at the curb and everyone was at home, all of a sudden it turned into a roll cart. Then you got, all of a sudden you're at the house and all the kids are there, everybody's there, you're cleaning up. You've got half the house at the curb for us to pick up, and that is a fee. And so it's always been a fee, always. Nothing's changed. The program was called Clean Sweep. We did it for a couple of years. When COVID hit, the goal was health and safety of the community, and of course my employees also. Let's get this garbage picked up. We had to get the garbage picked up. Post-COVID, we're still there. And that is correct. There is a lot of renters in DeKalb County. There's a lot of renters everywhere. The renters, actually, the homeowner is responsible for paying sanitation to pick it up. There is a fee to run all these trucks all over the county. There is a fee to get this stuff picked up. We have a landfill, we got transfer stations. It's a lot of money to get this stuff picked up. And so nothing's never changed. It's always been that way. We've always had red tape when we identified these piles. Of course, we come by and the red tape is gone, the residents moved it, or whoever has moved it. But we work very, very closely with code. We don't have any authority in sanitation. I cannot make a resident pay anything. We provide a service. I can't give a warning or a citation to a resident. So I work very closely with code, and I will contact, code enforcement. I'll say, hey, do you guys have a case on this? Have you guys, they're taking the homeowners to court. With the marshal evictions right now, when you go and you file for someone to be evicted, there is a checklist. Sanitation is not even in that checklist. When I go out there and pick up these marshal evictions, there's no money associated for sanitation.
Feels a bit like we're being double taxed. We're paying taxes for you guys to pick up garbage, and then there's special fees on top of that. So are you guys at any point going to revisit or?
As a director,
yeah.
I'm going to just put it out there. Your sanitation fee hasn't increased in 19 years. You've been paying $265 a year for sanitation fees as long as I've been with the county. You multiply that times 52 weeks out the year, you're paying $5 a week. Say that again? $5 a week. $5 a week. All right.
Should I grab it? Should I grab it?
No, you shouldn't.
Okay. Thank you so much. I want to thank public safety. We have had nothing but wonderful experiences from you guys every time you've come over, so I really appreciate it.
Can you say that again? For those viewers at home.
I want to thank... Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to thank public safety because you all, every time we've interacted with you, it's been wonderful. Okay. Now, my other question is, I guess for state court and also commission. Is anyone here from commission to answer budget questions?
Yes.
Okay, great. Oh, he is in the back. Okay, great. Thank you. I have an initial question, and that is, what percentage of both misdemeanor and felony charges are related, and particularly are substances and alcohol material evidence in the arrest?
Carry out that. All right, try the question again.
How about now? No.
Okay, great. This is a question really that impacts really everyone. I served 3 governor's appointments to the licensing board that regulates counselors, and we're charged with enforcing licensing law, and we're doing the lion's share of mental health, and addictions work in this state. And my question was, roughly, what percentage of charges are substances or alcohol material to the charge, both felony and misdemeanor?
I can't tell you that number right offhand, but we'll be happy to get that information to you because what you need to understand is that goes across several classes of court, state court, magistrate court, and superior court. So we don't have those stats for you, but we'll be happy to get that for you. Just see me afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question as well. So I asked specifically to the courts and the commission because I'm thinking about diversion as a mental health professional, an alternative to sentencing. When the matter of mental health, and I realize this is largely under the purview of the state Division of Behavioral Health, but I'm assuming the county does address budgetary matters with diversionary programs. When the topic of addiction comes up amongst budget meetings, what is discussed as far as solutions?
Sir, I can tell you that DeKalb County is one of the leaders in the state with accountability courts, for alcohol, drug impairment, veterans courts, mental health. And so our state superior court, again, and magistrate courts, they do significant work in that area. So in fact, our courts regularly have graduation ceremonies for those individuals who are coming out of those accountability court programs. So it's on most of the courts' websites. And, but again, I'll be happy to meet with you after and give you some more specific information. But yes, we're leading in that regard.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, sir, in addition to the budget that the courts normally get, I've allocated money out of my own district budget to support the accountability courts, specifically the Veterans Treatment Court, the Mental Health Court, and the Drug Court.
How much?
Probably over the last few years, it's been at least $100,000 out of my budget, so.
All right. Just want to do a time check. We're getting to that 11:30 time frame, and we're going to be wrapping it up.
Okay, so, okay. I actually have two questions. One is for Chris regarding SPLOST. Those of us who've not had our streets repaved and need repaving, is there still funding in this current SPLOST available for that? Or will we be having to depend on the new SPLOST?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the repaving, not to get in the weeds, roads and drainage drives all the roads on an annual basis and ranks them. So the good news is we will pave 277. The bad news is, in some ways, that was a snapshot of the road's condition in 2016 and 2017. So they'll be updating those inventory ratings, and for the next SPLOST, there'll be a whole new list of roads. Never enough, but that's how it works, an annual rating.
So I'm still hopeful that my street will be done.
Yeah. Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope.
Okay. So my second question is for Human Services. And thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw, for this lovely center. Love it, glad to have it. But those of us who are now staying in our houses longer than we expected, I would hope that both the budget for next year and the Human Services program that does grants for helping seniors repair their houses with necessary repairs, take in consideration the need for seniors to have assistance with keeping their houses so that they can age in place.
That is a great question. The commissioner knows how it's something that's really near and dear to me. So, two things. One is Daryl, his department does home repairs that are federally funded, but they're major home repairs. Two things are happening. One is we are going through what's called a NOFA process now through the Atlanta Regional Commission, where Office of Aging goes out, does a proposal to get funding for senior services. We're also partnering with a nonprofit to ask for money for home repairs for DeKalb because the state has set money aside. That would be fantastic, and they're going to go after that money for us. The other thing is we're also putting in the Human Services budget. I won't say how much, but we're going to put money in there for home repair because we realize what a need it is for emergency types of home repairs. I say minor stuff, but a plumbing problem is never minor, or trees, those types of things. We hope that it'll get approved, but we don't know, and I won't say the amount because our director has not approved it yet, but we have presented to him, so it's very important and we understand.
All right. All right, Carrie. Oh, you don't. Should have worn my roller skates today.
Hello, everybody. I kind of hate so many people left because this was some of what I wanted to mention was also to address the people that's running for office, especially CEO. So just really a couple of comments to consider when running for office. We'd like to hear some things regarding a few things such as how does, what the gentleman just mentioned, how does DeKalb County intend to deal with the plight of mental illness in the homeless community? Also, what are the future intentions for keeping DeKalb beautiful? One idea I had was when the person mentioned something about court-supervised community service, that could be extended to people that trash DeKalb County. Of course, that's one thing that has to be enforced first, but those people that are violators, they can do community service picking up trash. And they can extend it to their friends and family to help them to reduce the amount of hours of community service. And I think that would impede additional people from trashing. Let's see. For the code enforcement, I would like for it to be considered that a tracking system for complainants to be put in place so they have the ability to stay abreast of that complaints process. Because we have no idea. Make a complaint, nothing happens, we call in to find out where is it in the process. But if there's a tracking system, you know, it'll be a lot easier for people to understand where that is as it progresses. For the tree service, for the issue with the tree service that DeKalb County is experiencing, why not send a communication to all the DeKalb County tree companies, communicate with them that there is going to be a cost to their customers for DeKalb County services. Maybe they aren't aware of that. And now here's a question. For the infrastructure to handle the increased housing developments, it doesn't seem that that's being considered. There's a lot of housing developments that's, you know, put in place, but there's no infrastructure to handle the increased traffic. And now I understand there's costs associated with widening the roads, relocating the telephone poles, etc. But that's an increase in tax revenue, and I would imagine that would accommodate these additional expenditures. Is that the case? And I'm almost done. Regarding the dealing with the courts, okay, I agree, supposedly you perceive innocent until otherwise, right? And you have the ability to talk with the prosecutor. Give some consideration to giving the prosecutor a friendlier title, because prosecutor sounds like executor. Give them another title like the facilitator or negotiator, you know, just a consideration there. And a question in regards to the animal. Where is the new animal shelter? And what is in the plan for the old location where the old animal shelter was? And aside from that, last thing, I know some people, I'm a new member of the center, and I know there are some senior citizens that was talking about having connection issues with their mobile devices, and would like to have that addressed. Thank you.
All right. Any responses? Any responses?
We'll We'll deal with them,
Okay.
we'll deal with them offline.
Yes, sir. In regards to code compliance, there is a method in which we do track when a case is created. It's in our, what we call our Enforce system, and that information is on our logs in regards to the progress of a case, whether the case has been settled or whether it's still in progress. Sometimes a situation may arise where we have to take a person to court. That takes a while sometimes. Court cases are normally pushed out about anywhere from 30 to 45, sometimes 60 days. That case may be reset at the point of the time when the case comes to court. And again, that may kick the can further down the road. But just to let you know, there is a tracking method we have in regard to keeping up the progress with our code compliance.
We got to wrap it up. Do we have any YouTube questions? No, he's still going to be here so you guys can engage with folks. So we have one question.
You're going to limit me?
Yep, I'm turn off the mic. One question, come on.
I have a comment. Commissioner Bradshaw, I appreciate you going to the map and you displaying North DeKalb, South DeKalb, and we right there in the center. Going to these meetings, what I've encountered is, I know you don't want to do the black, the white, us and them, but it is. The meetings that I go to here in Central DeKalb, they have the same issues, beautification in DeKalb County, our roads. You don't have these type questions in the meetings in North and South. So my statement to you is, how can we set up some type of committee within the residents in Central DeKalb, let 5, 7 people come to you with the concerns that we have here? I know you're tired of hearing the same questions with Central DeKalb. The code enforcement with these commercial buildings around here, they don't do a great job. We losing the businesses that we have because of the people that are the problem makers. They don't come to this meeting. The problem solvers come to these meetings, and they're not getting their problems solved. When are they going to get their problems solved? I live in Main Street. They did the roads, they paved the roads, and then they all of a sudden stopped, and then I heard that we ran out of money. Am I up next in line to get my road addressed? I appreciate you all doing the potholes at the entryway where the clock is. Kudos for that. But you're doing them in sections. You went half a mile, you stopped, then you went 2 miles, start back up again. I don't see that in other areas where you picking and choosing, doing a little bit here and a little bit there. That don't help the beautification in the area. Work on our beautification, work on our roads, do these commercial people. If they're not going to do their jobs, then give us some businesses here where we can go and eat and we don't have to take our money somewhere else. We want to do it within our county as well.
Okay, so that's a lot there. That's a lot. So, first of all, the roads, let's deal with the roads. The roads are done on a rating system. I don't manage the rating system. Believe me, you don't want a commissioner involved in whose road gets paved. That's done by a rating system that's set up, and that's the proper construct. In terms of forming a committee to come see me, you can see me anytime you want. My office is open. My phone lines are open. You know, I think I'm the only commissioner that does meetings like this where I stand before the community every quarter and take these questions. So, but you don't have to wait for this construct. My office number is available. If a few people want to come down and sit around the conference table and talk to me, I'll set that up as soon as you want to. It shouldn't require that, but I'm happy to do that. And finally, with regard to we need new restaurants and businesses, yep, we do. But I can't go to Ruth's Chris and say, come to DeKalb County or come to this spot. Restaurants, like any other business, make their decisions based on their own selection criteria, and it distills to 2 things. Nobody wants to hear this, but it's true. Rooftops and income. Rooftops and income. Rooftops and income. Rooftops and income. That's what it distills to. And we're trying hard to make Central DeKalb, South DeKalb more palatable for business opportunities to come here. That doesn't happen overnight. The disparity is real. You're right. You're 100% right. But the disparity between North DeKalb, South DeKalb, and Central DeKalb didn't start in the last 3 years. This is a 20-year problem. Okay. I mean, I've been here 30. So it goes back, you know, we can unpack the history of how things evolved to where they are, but I wasn't a commissioner 30 years ago. I'm the guy trying to fix it now. And that's not an excuse, because I don't make excuses. We're working as hard as we can to make DeKalb County, Central DeKalb and South DeKalb friendlier to business. But it just doesn't happen overnight. And I'll give you one example. So I live just north of Memorial Drive. I've been in my house 30 years. One of the things that attracted me to where I am was how Memorial Drive was 30 years ago. There are all sorts of nice restaurants, and there was a Walden Books on the corner of Ray's Road and Memorial Drive. I remember it clearly. I've watched that deteriorate over time. I'm trying hard to revitalize that. If you want a sense, just a sense of what I would like to see happen, take a drive around the Kensington MARTA station. All that development's happened within the last 2 or 3 years. That's what I want to see move east down the rest of the corridor. And what it's producing is rooftops and income. Exactly what I said. And I won't belabor, because we're going to shut this down, but I remember meeting with MARTA 3 or 4 years ago, asking about the MARTA station, right? The area around the MARTA station, because it's a catalyst. A MARTA station is a jewel. And I asked them, what's the plan for this area right here? Sir, we don't have one. Now that's bad news, because 30 years went by without them doing anything. It's good news because we got to start anew. And all that development that's going on around that MARTA station now is within the last 2 or 3 years. And there's more to come. So that's a model. If you want to see what I'm trying to do in action, just take a little drive around the Kensington MARTA station. All righty? Okay, I'll yield back to my chief of staff.
Okay, thank you all for your patience. The meeting went over a little longer, but that's because you've got really great questions and comments, and we like hearing from you. The commissioner likes hearing from you. Please be in touch with our office. We've got our business cards out there. We're happy to continue these conversations with you. As Commissioner said, you can come to the office. We'll come to you. And I just want to put a plug out. One of our community action group chairs is not here. She was here, but she left. And Commissioner Bradshaw just mentioned Memorial Drive. If you're interested in being involved with a group that is focused on Memorial Drive and other areas in District 4, reach out to us and we'll make those connections for you. We wish you all safe travel back home. We'll be starting this back up January 2024, and there's folks that are going to be here from the various departments. Grab them before you leave if your question didn't get answered. And to our YouTube watchers, we apologize. We had technical difficulty this morning, so we were not able to get your questions to be able to ask them in this meeting. We will retrieve them, hopefully, from the YouTube video and respond back to if we have your contact information. Thank you all. Have a good day.